Kongversation. I better be polite and take off my shoes before I walk into the Oval Office. I better take off my pants, too. Ready or not, Obama, here I come.
Hello and welcome to the Kongversation. I'm Harvey Fierstein impersonating Chad McCanna.
Oh my God, and I'm Harvey Fierstein's mother, impersonating Hyle Russell.
No, that was Harvey Fierstein's mother impersonating Harvey Fierstein impersonating Hyle Russell.
Harvey Fierstein's mother sounds like Harvey Fierstein, Chad, and I won't have it any other way.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I must not have read the Independence Day expanded novel.
The ID4EU is literally my favorite reading material. I am a dedicated, diehard fan, and I really hope the new movie follows the continuity. I will not have them retconning Jeff Goldblum's children.
Well, I'm just glad that they're finally doing a story that only follows David Levinstein's ex-wife.
Seriously, though, the new Independence Day movie looks like...
It looks really fun!
You think it looks like... Okay, I think it looks way too dour and self-indulgent.
Are you kidding? Come
on. It's all blue and orange hues. It's trying to take itself way too seriously.
I don't think it is, though. I don't think it is.
The first Independence Day was fun because it knew it was schlock.
I don't know. I feel like the trailer to this looks like they understand that it's schlock. It's just reheated schlock, you know, which is okay.
Okay, but the first movie was colorful, whatever. This one just looks like every generic action blockbuster of the last 5 years. Well, it looks like Michael Bay's Transformers.
But that's because Roland Emmerich set the mold for what action blockbusters were with Independence Day.
Yeah, I know Independence Day is a terrible movie, but both Chad and I have an affinity for it because I think we were just the right age. Yeah. And it was at the height of, like, alien mania.
1996, wasn't it?
1996, yeah. And it was like, it's that sweet spot of nostalgia for us that it's fun to quote it, even though we know it's Shrek.
It's fun to watch, even though we know it's like, I will devote 2.5 hours to that movie, you know?
It's corny and it's goofy, but, you know, it brings out the teenage boy in me, what can I say?
Yeah.
But this looks terrible, and unless Harvey Fierstein appears as, like, a spirit to guide Jeff Goldblum, I have no interest in this movie.
Well, Brett Spiner is in it, and he supposedly died in the first film, off-screen, so, hey, maybe there's hope for Harvey Fierstein. He could have gone into that same random alcove that Will Smith's wife went into.
Maybe there's going to be a Flash Sideways universe
where Harvey Fierstein and the dog Boomer finally learn to move on together.
Yeah, the dog survived the original Independence Day. I'm sure it's long dead now, but maybe they used alien tech to artificially extend the dog's life. He's got like spider legs.
Wouldn't it be great if Will Smith's dog? I'm sorry, Captain Hiller's dog was there instead of his character's son in the movie. It was like a fighter pilot dog with augmented like vision, alien tech.
What are we doing, Chad? Why are we talking about this?
Oh yeah, we probably have like a way bigger audience on this one thanks to Platonic, and we're just talking about Independence Day.
We just lost them. Everybody who discovered the show because Platonic graciously plugged our interview with them in their sole backer update this last week. Yeah, everybody's now tuned out, and our audience has plummeted back to just the normal weirdos once again.
Yeah. Speaking of normal weirdos, we have 5 calls from them about this episode's subject matter, which is the recent rumors surrounding Retro Studios and its relationship with the Donkey Kong universe. But before we get to that, we should get to some diligence that is due.
Diligence sounds like an Independence Day character. You know, like Sergeant Diligence.
Sergeant Diligence, you're my number one hero.
Patreon. If you want to throw money at us after this nonsense, then go to dkvine.com/Patreon.
Yep.
Patreon. It basically funds the site.
Right.
It is the reason we're here.
It's confusing because we refer to them as patrons without the E, and this website is Patreon. So, like, I feel every time I say Patreon patrons, I feel like I'm just confusing my own message.
Yeah. Well, stickers. What can I say about the stickers, Chad?
Well, you can say that if someone donates $1 a month to the site, they'll get a physical object, namely stickers, in the mail.
4 stickers. Bare minimum, you get 4 stickers no matter what.
Bare minimum.
I just sent out a batch today of stragglers who hadn't given me their addresses yet.
You will get greater than or equal to 4 stickers.
I'm just saying, at the lowest bar, you're going to get something besides the satisfaction of helping DK Vine.
It's strange. Almost everyone gets 4, though. I know that the possibility is there.
Anyway, I just got out more this week. Thank you for those. I sent out the call last week for those who haven't given me their addresses yet. If you still haven't, please do. There's some of you. I'm looking at you, M-Dog.
Oh.
Who haven't. So, yeah. Send them on over. I know you're listening to this because this is a retro episode.
And he's a huge Independence Day fan.
He's the biggest I know.
Yeah.
His biggest complaint, not enough drafts.
Wait, giraffes or drafts?
Drafts.
Oh, I figured if Independence Day 5, ID 5, I don't know what they're called. If whatever this movie is so dour, they might have reinstituted the draft. But no, maybe yeah. I guess he is a fan of giraffes after all.
No, they're sending drafts. They've drafted giraffes to fight the aliens.
We'll never live down the draft.
Anyway, but you've also got the Minecraft server, Chad, at $2 a month.
And oh my god, that thing is blowing up. If you're at all familiar with Minecraft,
just like the cities in Independence Day,
right? Yes, we love going for monuments, and we're creating our own field full of them in DK Minecraft. One of our new users has found the stronghold, which if you're familiar with Minecraft means, and Hyle, I know you are.
I'm the biggest fan.
That means that we are very near going to the end of the game.
Why would you want to end the game, you silly turds?
No, but that's not the end of the game. That's just going to the realm called capital End.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, it's very exciting, very difficult, and it sort of opens up essentially. I'd say not a third, because there's the Nether, the Overworld, and the End. But the Overworld is obviously the most robust, but it's close. I'd say maybe it's about a fifth of the game is about to be unlocked by one of our newer DK Vinecrafters. So yeah, join on in. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. And then, of course, you can get the Kongversation a day early at the same tier. $5, you can get all of that. Plus, you can listen in live, which some people are doing as we're recording this right now. Hello, everybody.
Yeah.
Just on up. We also
they'll say hello to you after Twitch's built-in 30-second lag catches up.
Chad, I'm putting you on the spot. $10 a month, we have Let's Plays, where you can play video games with Chad and myself and other like-minded weirdos. Have we set a date for the next Let's Play?
You can presumably play games with us. Don't put me on the spot, because we were supposed to talk about that off the air.
We were, but whoops.
Yeah, no, it's coming. We're gonna knock out like 3 of them in a weekend, or we'll do 2 one weekend and 1 the other. They're coming very soon. Probably not this weekend, but the next, something like that. It'll be good.
Fair enough. Okay, why don't we pencil that in next weekend? Stay tuned for more details.
Ooh, only if $10 and up.
$10 and up, right. Anyway, and yeah. Anyway, so
there's also milestones that if we hit in aggregate. One of them is the involuntary Twitch streams, and every Sunday. And actually, previously I had a problem with my Xbox updating, so I did it Monday night. I'm streaming a game from the Donkey Kong universe. I just recently started Banjo-Tooie, and the reason my voice is shot is I think... I'm overcoming a really bad sinus infection, kind of viral
You've got E3-itis right now.
I've got E3-itis, yeah. But similar to just before E3, when it kind of started cracking and snowballing in a bad direction when I was doing a Helmast voice, because Helmast wasn't around to record his video that evening, so I thought I'd fill in.
Which it failed terribly, because he put a hex on you for even trying.
I know. But similar to that, I've been voice acting all of the Banjo-Tooie characters, and I think Officer Unogopaz ruined me.
He ruined me too, sexually.
No.
For other men, I mean,
Oh, okay.
which is why I'm marrying Michelle, because
because you can never find a man as robust an individual as Officer Unogopaz. What has happened to our show?
What do you mean, what's happened? It's been like this since day one. We're just a lot more subdued about it. Go back and listen to episode 1, everybody. You can find it on dkvine.com.
178 episodes ago.
We sound like just little kids trying to, like, putting on our daddy pants.
I never put on my dad's pants when I was
I don't know.
a kid.
I'm just being weird for the hell of it. But yes, we have milestones. You're doing the involuntary twitching.
Yeah.
$6.50 a month. I will do the slush fund twitched. And that is me playing Donkey Kong Universe games in a certain chronological order. I am on Donkey Konga 2 right now. It's less entertaining walkthrough and more, let's all tune in to see Hyle tortured.
Well, if you actually got to a good game, it would be a lot more fun.
It would be, but for now, it's Scraps, one of our most prolific members, callers.
Oh, we may be hearing from him in a little bit.
I'm sure we will. I mean, if we don't hear from Amechi, there's a good bet Scraps is in there as well. But he even started a parody Facebook account where I'm routinely sodomized by Donkey Konga 2. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but it's nice to know we've made it big enough where people are writing /fic about us.
You're not sure how you feel about that? I would feel irritated about that. Do you feel honored? Like what's the mixed emotion that you're going through?
It's a little bit of honored and terrified. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, fair enough.
Anyway, so yeah, dkvine.com/Patreon. It makes the world go around.
And by the world, we mean our website.
Yes. But as far as something you can do without throwing $1 at us, at least, check out the DK Vine forum at dkvine.com/forum. We are entering E3 season, and despite Nintendo basically just farting all over it, it's still going to be a very fun E3 because we know we've got Rare and Playtonic to really bring the goods this year.
Yeah, it's funny. Nintendo, they don't even have enough follow through to take a shit on E3. It's just a fart.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that a little bit at the top of the actual show here, but
it's complete odiferous immersion.
People are saying, "Oh, E3 season's ruined." It's not. Sea of Thieves and ukulele. You're gonna get so many ukulele reveals, your head's gonna spin. And yes, I'm speaking in Trumpisms. It's gonna be great. Sea of Thieves, we're really gonna, I think, learn a lot about the game at E3.
Yeah.
These are huge games. Yes, they don't star Donkey Kong, but they still are connected to the greater DKU. And you know what?
What?
They're made by some of our favorite people of all time, our favorite game developers of all time. So why wouldn't you be excited about learning more about these at E3?
Right.
Yes. We might not get any like killer game reveals, which are always like a really fun part about E3, but hey, who cares? We know we're going to get 2 huge games.
Yeah, getting hands-on with those 2 titles is enough of a show for me. Like that's
so come to
great.
the forum and discuss E3, discuss the whole Donkey Kong universe, past, present, future. You might even say, as far as times to join, this is the best.
Oh, wait, do you mean that before right now, if now is the best, then that means there has never been a better time than the current time?
I have to crunch the numbers. I have to look at my charts here. I don't want to make any declarative statements, but I would imagine that could potentially be the case.
Wow, that's incredible. There has never been, I mean, if the math works out, a better time to join. Huh.
Okay, so subscribe to the Kongversation on iTunes if you like your podcast through your iPhone or iPod.
Yeah. We're also on Stitcher.
Yes, Stitcher. Also on SoundCloud.
Yeah.
So check us out there. But we're also on YouTube, where we got a big boost for our YouTube audience this past week, and. You can subscribe to DK Vine on YouTube for other content besides the show. We have video content. Got something coming up that I will be plugging just a second here, but also follow DK Vine on Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr.
Yes.
And tell your friends about DK Vine, the Kongversation. If they have any passing interest in any of this nonsense, they might be interested. Get them in this world. Spread the word. Be an advocate for us, please.
Right, because we're very bad at doing it ourselves. We spent the first 8 minutes of the show talking about Independence Day instead of plugging all this shit.
We got to make it fun for us. I mean, Chad and I barely I consider Chad my best friend. Besides, my fiance, he's my best friend, and maybe my cat. But I
can never compete with Smokey.
We hardly ever talk outside the confines of the show, so sometimes, I just want to shoot the shit with him,
Yeah, and sometimes that involves talking about David Levinson.
I liked how you actually remember his character. He's literally just Jeff Goldblum.
I only remember his character because earlier today I watched a promotional video for the new Independence Day movie, which is like the Earth Defense Force that's headed by David Levinson, and they interviewed Jeff Goldblum. That's the only reason.
I will say the one cool thing about that movie is it's not taking place in our 2016. It's actually taking place in a 2016 if the events of Independence Day had occurred.
Well, yeah, how could it? How could it take place in our
No, but I'm saying a lazier filmmaker would have just had it take place in a modern day, and here it's like, oh no, alien tech crashed down upon our planet and our cities were decimated. What would Earth look like 20 years later?
Right. We have a military base on the moon, and we have jets that can fly to space. I mean, it's pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what he was singing about all those years ago.
Anyway, so yes, what I wanted to plug real quick was the DK Vine Hall of Fame. Voting for which has opened this week through May 21st. And if you go to dkvine.com/Hall of Fame, all one word, you will be able to have a crack at the ballot. Everybody gets one vote across the ballot. You can vote for up to 6 characters across what we consider the 6 series classifications in the Donkey Kong universe.
Those are Donkey Kong, the Banjo series, the Conquer series, what we're now calling the Dinosaur Planet series, previously the Star Fox series, although it does include 2 core Star Fox games in addition to Dinosaur Planet.
Well, Star Fox Adventures, but yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. In addition to Star Fox Adventures, Dinosaur Planet, which became Star Fox Adventures. I keep forgetting that it doesn't have that title anymore.
Yeah. It briefly did. It's like the Diddy's Conquest in a Donkey Kong Land 2 subtitle.
Right.
It just very briefly bore that in promotional materials, but it's been enough that it's stuck in some people's heads.
Yeah, and strangely also dropped for the Game Boy Advance version.
None of them had subtitles,
right.
Which it makes it easier to separate them in my mind. But yeah,
right, because one's DKC2 DKQ and one's DKC2. And in addition to those series, we also have what we call Fish and Chaps, which includes the Mr. Pants and Royston spin-off titles, which include the Viva Pinata series, Grab by the Ghoulies, It's Mr. Pants, etc.
Yeah, essentially Banjo-Kazooie spin-offs, which
right.
Sea of Thieves may or may not be part of that, but you can't vote for those characters yet because, hey, it's not released yet.
And then there's the Professor and Marianne of the Donkey Kong universe, the cameo games. And that's basically every game in which a character makes a cameo appearance. The Mario sports titles, things like #IDARB, Minecraft, etc.
Yeah, it was fun trying to... The Hall of Fame voting would have been up about a week earlier had we not spent so long trying to get all the Skylanders and #IDARB characters we could on the ballot. And there's a couple of Minecraft characters in there as well. Well, Minecraft characters as in like Jet Force Gemini characters who first appeared in the DKU in Minecraft. So,
it's funny. Every time the Hall of Fame comes up, and this is the 4th year that we've done it, it's always a very hot button issue on the forum. And just looking at we are live streaming this for patrons. Looking at the Twitch chat that we have going on, it's getting a little rambunctious there as well. I think at some point we might need to do like a call-in episode just for the Hall of Fame.
I think you're right, chat. I think maybe next week.
Ooh. You mean it's not going to be the Cranky Kong episode?
I think, the Cranky Kong episode's coming. The Character Witness Cranky Kong episode that we've been promising patrons and forum members alike for weeks now that we've continually delayed because, hey, we've had more news to discuss than we had previously over the winter. I think a dedicated Hall of Fame episode. We got to play the pundits, the political pundits. This is election season, Chad. And we've got to put on our best Fox and Friends britches and try to suss out the Hall of Fame and have people advocate for their favorite characters by calling in.
Yeah, we need to chow down on those metaphorical taco salads.
Called it a taco bowl. By the way, they make the best taco bowls in Trump Tower Grill.
Which is funny because that's not actually the restaurant in Trump's Tower that they make those taco bowls.
No. And taco bowls aren't actually...
That's not a food. That's not a thing.
No. And I like how he said, I love Hispanics.
I love Hispanics when eating a bastardized version of their food.
And it's Cinco de Mayo. Not all Hispanics are Mexican. Trump.
God, Donald Trump. Well, there's your presumptive Republican nominee. I hope you're happy, America.
Anyway, but I love the Hall of Fame. And check out our YouTube channel to watch the previous 3-year Hall of Fame induction ceremonies. The Hall of Fame, it's becoming everything I hoped it would be back in 2013. When we came up with this, I wanted people to get invested in it and it to be like this huge thing. And it's really like Scraps, for example, has been advocating for Perry the Parallel Bird all year. And
even more, he's been advocating for Perry for like 2 years straight now.
But it's become a real thing, and now people are like trying to campaign for characters on the floor. It's a real like thing on DK Vine now, and I love it. And so you can get in on it. Maybe this will be Donkey Kong's year. Who knows?
This is the only time in which partisan politics can bring us together.
DKVine.com/Hall of Fame. And also call in right now, 1-281-410-KONG. If you want to advocate for a character in the Hall of Fame, next week will be your time to shine. We'll at least record the episode next week. I don't, no, it'll be next week's episode.
Sure.
I'm drawing the line in the sand.
Yeah.
Next week, call in.
Fuck Cranky Kong, unless Cranky Kong is the character you want to advocate for. No, he's already in it.
He's already in it.
Cranky's already in it. Fuck Cranky Kong.
He got it in the second year, 2014. He rode that tropical freeze wave to the Hall of Fame.
That's right. Yeah. So if you want to put a wave underneath Richard M. Nixon, who is a character you can vote for,
Nixon 2016.
Nixon
baby.
2016. Call in, please. We'd love to hear you make a case for your character, and maybe you can whip some votes along behind it.
So the Hall of Fame episode of the Kongversation next week.
All right.
But this week, what do we got on the dockets, Chad? Actually, I have a correction. I have a correction to make real quick.
Oh, okay.
I need to eat some jungle crow.
Some racist jungle crow.
Well, that's Dumbo.
Oh,
man.
that's Dumbo. It was racist vultures in the Jungle Book.
Liverpudlian vultures. Yeah, they wanted to get the Beatles to voice them, and John Lennon said he didn't want to be in a cartoon. And this was a year before Yellow Submarine, mind you.
Yeah,
so
that's what cultural insensitivity is for.
So they just impersonated the Beatles instead. But last week I said that the live-action Jungle Book from the 1990s wasn't a Disney production. I was half wrong. It turns out there actually was one of them made by Disney. It was the 1994 version.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of. Yeah,
there were other iterations that came later in the 90s that were not Disney productions, which is what I was thinking. I was thinking some direct to video nonsense that I remember being advertised in like 97 or something. But yeah, there was one in 94. But my point still stands, Chad, that it's not a reboot of a series if it's just a remake of one solitary movie.
Yeah, well, the Jungle Book is really a loose series of sub-books. Like, you've got Rikki Tikki Tavi in there. I mean, there's
I mean, there was a second Jungle Book, too, where they followed up on stories in Mowgli, though. So, I mean...
Yeah.
Like, how come they never incorporate like Rikki Tikki Tavi in like a let's
Do you remember the Chuck Jones cartoon of Rikki Tikki Tavi? That scared the shit out of me as a kid. That was awesome.
Yeah, I think I do. I also love the Donovan song he wrote based on the Rikki Tikki Tavi.
Oh, Atlantis?
Yes. The subtext is there. It's really hard to parse out, but I mean, the magician was my favorite character in that book. Nobody knows what we're talking about. We are so fucking insular, Chad. We're making jokes that only appeal to Chad and myself, and we're tiddling of.
Yeah, we absolutely refuse to engage the audience on their own terms.
This is the Kongversation, and here we are making Donovan jokes, like because of our affinity for both late '60s rock and also Futurama, I guess.
Yeah, and it's funny. So one of the comments on our Platonic episode on YouTube was, how are these people sustaining 200 episodes of a Donkey Kong podcast? Here's how. We never talk about Donkey Kong.
Well, they thought it was 400 episodes
Well, yeah.
because of our weird-ass naming conventions.
Because we use television numbering instead of podcast numbering.
Hey, we're from TV. We won an Emmy, motherfuckers.
Yeah, how's that working out for us?
Hey, we got an interview with Platonic. How do you think it's working out for us?
Yeah, they wouldn't have done that had we not won a local Emmy 10 years ago.
Hey, man.
It's LA.
It's still gold. Yeah. So anyway, my apologies. I'm sorry to all the Jungle Book 1994 fans who just turned off the show after that.
Yeah. I think is this your first correction? I've made several before.
I've been wrong on the show before. I just never copped to it. So
Well, I'm glad you finally did.
all right. I am human, people. Hyle Russell is fallible. I am not the Messiah. I'm sorry to say.
Your flesh, blood, and bad Disney facts.
Mamechi. The only reason Mamechi didn't lynch me was I didn't sully the name of ducks.
There's probably a duck somewhere in the Jungle Book.
Carla, who is also part of the inner circle now, she's also a huge Disney fan, and I hope I didn't offend her in any way.
Although I'm sure you did.
I'm sure I did. So anyway, let's talk about what we got to talk about this week. That's not ID4 or Jungle Book related.
Well, first, a little bit of an update on our subject from last week, which was was it the State of Nintendo? Was that last week?
It was the State of Nintendo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't remember if there was like a week slotted in there.
Nintendo Annoyed Grunt, which apparently should have been Nintendo Annoyed Grunt, but that doesn't make any sense.
No, it shouldn't have.
Well, that's what Glancy on the DK Vine forum said, based on the original Simpsons episode.
No. Glancy's comment, I think, was that the Annoyed Grunt was supposed to have been capital A, capital G.
Oh.
Yeah. No, there's no D in there because that's part of the dope.
Okay. I'm sorry. I misunderstood. That's my second correction then.
Yeah, Glancy is just a stickler for capitalization. He's an old school forum goer.
Or was it Glancy or what the darn? It was one of those old timers. One of those old timers.
Yeah. So if it wasn't one of them, we'll make a correction next week.
No, it was Glancy.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, Nintendo.
They both have orange anthropomorphic produce as their avatar, so I confuse them sometimes. One has Topper and one has Auto Orange.
Carrots and oranges are practically the same thing.
They're both the same color, the color of Donald Trump's face.
So Nintendo said that they not only, we talked last week about the fact that they are focusing only on Zelda for the complete immersion factor.
I'm making the jerking off motion with my hand right now. You can't tell, but it's vigorous.
But today it came out, actually, I think either today or yesterday. We're recording on Thursday, that there will be no Nintendo digital event, the specialized version of the Nintendo Direct that they've been doing.
Oh my God.
For what, the last 2 or 3 years now?
Yeah. Basically, they used to have the big stage show where Reggie made some dad jokes and Miyamoto would come out to speak some broken English phrases, and everybody would cheer because he's wearing a Zelda shirt. Isn't that funny that the creator of Zelda is wearing a Zelda shirt? Oh,
ooh, cynical.
A little bit about Nintendo lately. I hate to be cynical. Because I'm so positive about Rare and Platonic that I hate to be that partisan, but it's been hard lately to be really, really enthused about Nintendo's decision making. Which I'm not on the inside. Maybe there's a method to the madness, but
I'm sure. Well, I think the method. You have to consider it's Platonic and Microsoft, which owns Rare. These are Western companies that I think are run a little bit differently than Japanese companies. Nintendo has been around since the 1800s. I really feel like they're much more reserved and they're focused on a long game and long-term stability. And if you look at Nintendo's stock, which I did yesterday because I was curious, like, are they doing...
Oh, yeah. How am I doing, Chad, with my 3 shares?
Your portfolio? No, it's actually... It's up and down, and stocks are extremely volatile. But if you zoom out to look at like the last year, they're actually pretty stable. I wouldn't start going doom and gloom on Nintendo. This is a company that's been around for over 100 years, and they've got so much money in the bank. They'll be able to weather a few console generations of underperformance.
Yeah, I'm not saying like Nintendo's doomed, but it is hard. I feel like I'm kind of being edged out of their audience a little bit. And granted, I'm not your atypical gamer, so
I didn't leave Nintendo. Nintendo left me.
I'm not saying Nintendo needs to bend their will to my preferences, but I feel like there used to be a bigger net that Nintendo was casting, and I feel like it's much more insular now than it used to be.
I can see that. I also, well, to an extent, I think part of it though is also that we, unlike the vast majority of gamers, we have our finger on the pulse of this stuff. You know, most people aren't even really going to tune into E3. You know, it's really only something that the super fans who are already going to buy the NX are concerned about at all. So I think it really is much ado about ultimately nothing.
Okay, but I also feel like Nintendo is basically just giving up 2016. Like 2016, they know they've got nothing,
and maybe that's a sound strategy. Perhaps they needed to cut off or yank out the dead tooth so the ones around it won't die. You know.
Is Star Fox Zero then the rotting thing in their mouth?
It might be.
Judging by their sales, oh my god.
Yeah, it's not doing great in Japan even.
Star Fox Zero is actually not the name of the game. It's actually how many units were sold.
Hey-o!
Bazing!
Oh,
Bazinga!
Up next on Jimmy Fallon's lip sync battles.
Wait, is that a Jimmy Fallon joke?
Well, no, it's the caliber of a Jimmy Fallon joke. It was
all
my
right.
point.
Well, in that case, let me pour some vodka in my mug because he's a drunk.
Oh, I was not aware.
We talked about this on the show. Jimmy Fallon is a notorious
I don't pay
alcoholic.
attention to the show.
This is where you get the majority of your celebrity news, Chad.
Yeah, I stopped watching TMZ because I co-host this show.
This is both your source for Donkey Kong Universe news, and this is your substitute for In Touch magazine.
Yeah. You're my own personal Harvey Levinstein. Is it Harvey Levinstein? Guy who.
That's Jeff Goldblum's character from Independence
That's David
Day.
Levinstein. There's some guy, Harvey something, who does not Harvey Firestein either, who does TMZ. Never mind. Let's talk about Retro Studios. That's the real meat and potatoes of this episode.
Okay, well, you don't have anything that's more to say about Nintendo. Like they're just basically abandoning E3. I mean,
it is what it is. Yeah.
It is what it is, but it's still kind of like they've literally like. I'm shocked they're not even like teasing the NX at all this E3. Like,
but no, that's what I'm saying.
Excited.
I think it could be a strategic move that they don't want to compete directly with Microsoft and Sony for eyeballs. That they want to wait until sort of let them duke it out and have their own battleground, and then Nintendo will come in once everyone when we're in the throes of the summer swamp ass and basically control an entire news cycle. I mean, that might be a sound strategy.
It might be. I'll grant you that. I don't know. I think essentially it looks like Nintendo is basically just. It's going to be bad optics, at least for a while. But like I said, maybe they just need to have bad optics for a while because it'll mean more when they finally get back in the game. Because I've never, in all of my life as a gamer, I've never seen Nintendo in such bad shape. And again, they've got a war chest. It's not like they're hurting that much financially, but as far as just market presence.
Yeah, I mean, you could make a case perhaps that the GameCube years were pretty rough, but
okay, but
at least they had the Game Boy Advance, and the 3DS is doing well, but not as good as the Game Boy Advance did.
Okay, but the Wii U, I would argue that the only people who own Wii U are Nintendo loyalists. And a couple, and some other people, but it's not like it's
a few million other people.
No. I would argue like it's really just that's why they're kind of just focusing on their core like meme loving internet followers at the moment. They're just I don't know. They're not. They basically they failed retaining the grandparent demo, and now they're just like battening down the hatches and focusing on the million some hardcore Nintendo loyalists who are buying their games right now. But I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not an expert. I just pretend like I am.
Well, let's pivot over to Retro Studios, which is a subset of Nintendo. We have to go deeper.
Okay, let's talk about Retro, because now we know Retro has been working on this game for a while. Whatever this game is, we still have no inkling of what it is, but we have an inkling of what it isn't.
Right.
And basically, the other day, an important internet person named Emily Rogers, she leaked the Paper Mario Color Splash.
I tried to do some research on Emily Rogers before the show, and apparently she used to be a blogger about Nintendo. I think she's just a fan. I couldn't find that she ever worked for a publication, but apparently over the course of blogging, she found a couple sources within Nintendo or within one of Nintendo's partners that were willing to give her the inside scoop on a lot of things, which is strange to me because if someone if you've confided in someone and they keep telling people the things you're telling them, stop talking to that person.
No, but I think they want the information to get out.
No. Oh, okay.
Because Nintendo's got some leak problems in recent years. So we know that firsthand.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. People who work for Nintendo are kind of seduced by getting stuff out on the internet and seeing the stuff get talked about, even if they're not getting any personal gratification out of it. I don't really understand why you would risk your job.
Right. What's the reason for doing that? Do you really feel are you trying to be a whistleblower without actually blowing the whistle yourself? I don't...
Edward Snowmad, yeah. I don't know. It's baffling me because if I worked for Nintendo, I would not want to jeopardize that in any capacity.
Of course not. That's insane.
So, I don't get it, but hey, everybody's wired differently. So, but anyway,
she's a reliable rumorist.
Right. She's got. It's not like it's Sal Romano from the Macaroni Kitchen.
No.
No, she's gotten things right in the past. So,
including Color Splash, and she recently also discussed the before Nintendo announced the Zelda Wii U NX dual release. She was tweeting about how she had heard that. Interestingly, another one of her things about Zelda is that you can play as male or female Link, which would align with Hyrule Warriors' Linkle character.
Right. Although I doubt Nintendo has the foresight to, actually put Linkle in the game as a preview of this. They seem very, very disconnected as far as what their different teams are doing, and
Yeah. This is not exactly Banjo showing up in Diddy Kong Racing.
No.
So anyway, I think that's interesting. I may even play as a female Link. I generally, if I have the option, I usually play as a female character. I did in Mass Effect. So yeah,
can we play as a male Link who identifies as female?
Possibly. They may implement the entire spectrum of sexual identification in the game. That's a Nintendo that I could get behind.
Honestly, I'd be okay with that. I mean, so long as there's a part of where Ganondorf throws a fit because Link is going to the bathroom and Target.
Well, because Ganondorf only cares for power and not society's progression,
and because he's weirded out. Just make him a transphobe. I mean, come on.
That would perhaps be Nintendo's most intense villain to date.
Yeah. But then he realizes he's a hypocrite because he's a man who wants to be a pig. So he just let him be what he wants to be.
Does he want to be? Yeah, I guess Ganon is him at his most powerful. So
right.
yeah, I guess he does covet the form of a pig.
I feel like I'm tiptoeing through this conversation, trying not to trip over anything. So why don't we move on?
No, yeah, this thing has trigger warning all over it.
You're in my safe space, Chad. Back up.
I'm sorry. I should have checked my privilege.
So anyway, she said she spoke to her sources. This is important internet person Emily Rogers. Famed blogger, apparently. Not famed blogger Kevin Callahan.
Now she's a famed tweeter. All I could find on Emily Rogers was her Twitter account. Currently, it looks like she used to have a blog, but it's now defunct. So
come on, you gotta dedicate yourself to that. I mean, here we are, almost 17 years running for DK Vine.
Mm-hmm.
We don't give up. We don't give up.
Maybe we should. She's getting more headlines than we are.
We did okay with the Platonic interview.
Right, that's
I'm
true.
just pouring more vodka into my mug here.
Yeah.
Full Fallon.
You're right, Hyle. The last 5 days have been very good to us.
Hey, we're also on a Sea of Thieves website. Plug.
That's true, too. Thank you, Rare. That was awesome.
SeaofThieves.com. Check that out if you want to read an exclusive interview with Chad and myself.
With the people you're currently listening to, because we're so hard to access.
No, that was really cool of Rare. So she says that her sources claim that Retro's new product isn't Metroid or Donkey Kong, which we knew here at DK Vine. We sussed out it wasn't Metroid over a year ago. Yeah. We could have told you that much because we knew Nintendo wasn't working on a Metroid game besides Federation Force. But she says it's not Donkey Kong either, and it releases in 2017. She followed that up with another tweet that said, "Rumor Part 2. It's not Diddy Kong Racing 2 either. It sounds more like a new IP."
Interesting. Well, unfortunate for followers of Kevin Callahan.
Now, in defense of Kevin Callahan, I have to say,
of course.
I have to say that the rumor always stated that it was Monster Games heading up Diddy Kong Racing, NX, Wii U 2, but that Retro was merely providing them some support. So
similar to what they did with Mario Kart 7.
Right. It wouldn't have been Retro's main game. So the rumor still lives. Hashtag I still believe in Kevin Callahan.
You're using that hashtag in vain, my friend.
Oh, well, I don't care, man. Eventually we'll get a new Diddy Kong Racing and I can say I was right and the good Kevin Callahan was right all along.
Well, before we talk about our opinions on this, let's take some of the opinions of our callers.
I'm sure this will be well-reasoned.
Who's up first?
Hey, it's Demetri again. I have some interesting questions today. So, first off, about Retro Studios. So, it's rumored that Retro's now working on a new Donkey Kong Country, blah, blah. I know that. But, that said, and also, of course, Nintendo just showed off their E3 website. It's up now, and basically, there's not even a Nintendo Direct. It's just going to be a Zelda stream for E3. That's it. So we're not going to see Diddy Kong Racing at all. Sorry to say that, Hyle, but we're not going to see Diddy Kong Racing or anything.
You're broken up
besides
about
Zelda, because literally there's no Nintendo Direct. What do you guys think about the fact that Nintendo's just putting all their eggs with Zelda?
We already answered that.
Do you guys think that's going to pay off for E3? All right, so now about Retro Studios. What if some developer gets Donkey Kong, but it's not DKC, but it's Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong, Dixie. It's not like a reinvention of the franchise like Jungle Beat, but you're just making a new game, but it's not a country game. Maybe it's a 3D platformer, maybe it's an RPG. What if the Donkey Kong series goes away from the country monarch, the country, the country name, but it's still Donkey Kong? How do you guys feel about that? Anyway, I think Nintendo's E3 is going to be a disaster. We'll see you guys.
Thank you, as always, for the call, Mamechi.
Yes, thank you. The scream was a scream of love.
Yes, it's Mamechi! Yeah, so honestly, I wouldn't be too broken up if the Donkey Kong series continued without being a country-named 3D or 2D platformer series, like it happened with King of Swing.
Yeah, I mean, the buyout era, the 64 era, country took a break, essentially. And
those were really fun games. They were weird, but they played nothing like the countries, but they were faithful to the characters.
Oh, you're talking about Payon, not Donkey Kong 64.
Yes, Payon. Yeah. DK64 doesn't quite hold up in the harsh light of present day, but Yeah, I don't want to get hate mail about that opinion. So I'll just refer you to
man.
I'll refer you to our Donkey Kong 64 Spotlight episodes.
No, don't do that. Then we'll still get hate mail.
No, I think the Payon games, King of Swing and Jungle Climber, were really good modern Donkey Kong, like Kong family games.
They were. The problem is that they were great for side games. The problem is we didn't have a main game to support them. Like, if those games had come out around the time of Donkey Kong Country Returns, I think they would have done dramatically better.
Yeah.
Because people were excited about Donkey Kong again. And if you look at the sales of the Mario vs. Donkey Kong game that came out like a week before Donkey Kong Country Returns, it did dramatically well compared to the games that were released around it in the series, because it rode the wave of Donkey Kong Country Returns. Donkey Kong was a hot brand again. I love the Payon games, but I think as core games, we would need something a little bit meatier.
What do you think a 3D platformer would fit the bill?
I do, and I think Nintendo would be remiss if they were not looking into making a new 3D platformer game. I mean, an old school 3D platformer, that goes deeper into the experience that even the Mario Galaxy games do. I think
in what way? Because that's something that I've been sort of acquainting myself with as I've been playing through Banjo-Tooie is, as I said on the Rare interview, Banjo-Tooie is like an abandoned evolutionary branch of the 3D platformer genre, whereas Nintendo, with its entries, in the Mario Galaxy, Sunshine and Galaxy series, they more or less played it straight in like the Banjo-Kazooie Mario 64 mold. Would you want to see more of a giant shared world kind of thing?
Yeah.
Or okay, so not segmented.
And I think Donkey Kong is the perfect brand to do it, because it's always been about an interconnected, breathing environment, levels that make sense within the context of the game world. It's not just obstacle courses. So yeah, I think if they're going to get into the game of, because this 3D platformer resurgence that may or may not happen, people are excited about Yooka-Laylee. There's a new Ratchet and Clank game based on the movie, which was based on the game, and Lobo Destroyo, but you've got like all these games that are coming out, and I think Nintendo, it's weird that they would just abandon that. I realize that the switch to HD development kind of threw them off their game. So if they can get their mojo back and actually have efficient game development that's out in a timely fashion again, then Donkey Kong would be perfect for 3D platforming if they want to branch out. People remember Donkey Kong 64 fondly, whether we have soured on the game or not. And I still very much like a lot of the aesthetics of the game and some of the characters introduced in it. It's a slog to play, but I don't hold any ill will towards the presentation so much.
Yeah, on all the parts where the game is a game, it fails, but.
There's some fun parts. It's just you can tell it didn't have that Greg Mayles pedigree, I hate to say.
Yeah, that's it. I don't want to put too fine a point on it, but it does feel that way.
Yeah. So what I'll say is, though, that I think people are just as nostalgic for Donkey Kong 64 as the country games, maybe even more so. And I think people would react enthusiastically to a 3D platforming Donkey Kong game. And so I would be fine with it. But I also think the Donkey Kong Country brand is one that's also here to stay. If we're going to have future Donkey Kong installments, I think we'll eventually see another country game. I think, as Tanabe and Michael Kelbal said in the press for Tropical Freeze, maybe Donkey Kong can one day support both.
Yeah. Well, here's a tangential question. Now that we're at the point where you could feasibly have a fully fleshed out 3D platformer on a handheld device, especially if the NX is going to be that hybrid device that it seems to be moving towards, would you care whether the next Donkey Kong, like, what if it's not country, whatever the next Donkey Kong game is, would you care if it was handheld only versus a console game?
Well, I mean, how does the NX work? How will the NX work? Well, if it's a hybrid, like, wouldn't it be essentially both?
Well, I'm thinking, what I sort of posited a few weeks back was that I'm thinking there will be like controller only games, which is the NX handheld.
Okay.
There would be console games, and then potentially you could play those controller games using your television through the console.
We have had a main console Donkey Kong game since the SNES.
Okay, but you're talking about tradition.
Tradition is everything, Chad.
It's not. We're talking about technology, and technology marches to the beat of its own drum. It doesn't.
We marched to the beat of a drum. Remember the GameCube era? I mean,
yeah. We've panned with the best of them. But no, do you really feel like tradition is important enough, or
it's
is
important
just
to me? But I'm a weirdo.
Yeah, but is just getting to sink your teeth into a new Donkey Kong game what's important?
I love handheld games, and I think one of the biggest things lacking in this generation, at least for the Donkey Kong series, is a lack of new handheld experiences. We had Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D, but that was essentially minus some new levels and an easy mode. It was the same game we just played, and I think it in some ways is the definitive way to play the game if you don't like the motion controls of the Wii original. But I miss handheld games. I miss the fun of having those games. But
I have been loving Donkey Kong Country 2 on my 3DS. I just beat it again, and I involuntarily twitched that game like 3 months ago, and I didn't mind. Now my 3DS is basically a Donkey Kong Country machine, and I love that.
A couple days ago, I've started playing Donkey Kong Land 2 on my 3DS. I don't have the new 3DS yet because there's really been little need for me to get one. But I've been playing Donkey Kong Land 2, and it's the first time I've really played that game in a decade and a half. I don't know, and it's just I'm having a lot of fun. It's weird to play that game again, and yeah, I miss handheld games. So no, I'm never going to look at a handheld release and turn up my nose at it. I'm going to warmly embrace it.
Gary Glitter would be proud of you.
Yeah,
by the way,
that's a reference that only a select few will get.
They used a Gary Glitter song in the promotional materials for Donkey Kong Land 2.
And somebody who sounds suspiciously like the Ape Raper was the announcer in that commercial.
The Ape Raper, of course, being the announcer of this show.
No, I'm not just going insane. So yeah, I want to. I guess I'm saying that I'm greedy. I want a console game because of tradition, but I also want handheld games.
Okay, fair enough. Well, you want to take another call?
Yeah, let's do it.
Hey guys, ATV here. I just wanted to talk to you a minute this week about Retro Studios. So there's been a lot of buzz in the air recently that Retro Studios is working on a new unannounced project, and that project is actually not any current IP. It's not Metroid and it's not Donkey Kong, but it's completely new IP that no one's ever seen before. So I know there's a lot of Metroid fans angry that they have literally nothing to look forward to now except Federation Force, which happy 30th anniversary, Metroid fans. I hope you enjoy that. Woo! And there's a couple of DK fans a little disappointed that there's not going to be another game soon in the DKC series, but the way I see it, I think this new retro IP could be really cool, even if it's not Donkey Kong or Diddy Kong Racing. I think this could finally be the chance for Retro to break out of that mold. I mean, they've been doing nothing but making current IP games for a while, and I think it's great that they're finally getting to try something new, and who knows, we may even see a cameo from Samus or DK in the newest IP game. I mean, think about it, this technically has a chance of being like a DKU or a cameo game or something. Like, what do you guys think? Do you guys have hopes about this new IP? Are you gonna play it? Are you not? Do you think Retro will cheekily hint at DK, maybe throw him in there as a cameo to make it a cameo game? Who knows? Anyways, that's about it. But did you guys see today's Nintendo news about them not having a freaking digital event? I mean, holy shit, what the hell is going on with them? I mean, like, like, I know it's not the time or place to talk about that right now, but can you at least talk about that? I mean, the thing in the place of the digital event this year is just a Zelda live stream from the Treehouse. I mean, really, Nintendo? You're not saying anything? You really don't have any games this year besides the trash Paper Mario game and Tokyo Mirage Sessions? Anyways, congratulations on being featured on the Rare website last week and breaking 1,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel yesterday. You guys have a great day. See ya.
Thanks, ACZ. He started turning into Lucy Ricardo there at the end.
Well, to be fair, he really wanted to be in the show, but I guess Ricky just wants to have Zelda at the show. So,
Zelda is the much more reliable Babalure.
She's gonna come in dressed like in a green tunic and pointy ears and.
Now, Lucy, you don't need to be in the show. You don't have a talent, but I love you, Lucy.
Women just need to know their place. Am I right?
That's what the 50s were all about. Actually, I Love Lucy was a fairly progressive show for its age.
Well, yeah, because it had a all-American girl married to a Cuban. I mean, it was...
and the showrunner was a woman. I mean, it's, say what you will about, it was a product of its time, but it was probably the most progressive product of its time that there was.
And sure, it resulted in a loveless marriage where they hated each other, but...
Of course. But hey, that's showbiz.
Yeah. I Love Lucy up until season 7.
So about his call instead of I Love Lucy.
I remember we were in LA a couple years ago, and we there was this billboard of because everything in LA is centered around show business.
Oh, I know what you're going to say. It's the Culver City Studios on Venice Boulevard.
No. There was just this billboard for like a bank.
Oh, never mind. Okay.
And we saw it every day we were out there, like for a week. It was when we were out to film "Put It in Your Mouth." Where's Sam, by the way?
I don't know. I haven't seen him in a while.
Oh, that's weird. So there's a bank, and it's had on the billboard Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball, and it said, "When people talk, great things happen."
That's right. I thought you were talking about the famous painting of Lucy, Ricky, Fred, and Ethel. I think it was when they were driving to L.A., and that's a mural that's on side of the Culver Studios.
No.
Oh, okay.
But I remember we saw this billboard every day, just how much it pissed us off that this has nothing. This is a bank that has nothing to do with I Love Lucy. when people talk, great things happen. So when Lucy and Desi talked, they decided to make I Love Lucy. Like, what are you trying to say?
Right.
Bank?
What is the point, bank?
Okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
So,
do you remember what ACZ's question was?
What was his favorite I Love Lucy character? Wow. No.
He was really a Little Ricky fan, but early Little Ricky before he could talk.
Will we play Retro's new IP, and do we think it could be DKU?
So look, I have played every Retro game that I'm aware that's out. Have they released any prior to Metroid Prime?
That was their first game.
Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah, I didn't know if they had some kind of obscure title that was like on the N64. I didn't think they did. I've played them and loved them all. I think that the Prime series, in a way, kind of had diminishing returns, but diminishing returns on the level of a top-tier Nintendo game. It's like a bad Zelda is still a great game. A bad Metroid Prime is still a great game. And I love them. And of course I'll play the new Retro Studios game. If nothing else, that I love the marriage of Western influence, like studio influence and aesthetic with Nintendo sensibility. I think that served Rare very well, and it served Retro very well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's really one of our sole like Western influences in Nintendo at this point. So it's always nice to see. And what tantalizes me is what if David Wise is doing the music for it?
Yeah, that's true. He might be. I mean, once you establish a professional relationship with someone, I mean, God, look at Playtonic. Their whole company is propagated by professioneither relationships that they've built in the past,
When you talk, great things happen.
When you talk, you might get David Wise to do the music for your new IP.
He's either doing that or Diddy Kong Racing NX, so we'll see. But
¿Por qué no los dos?
I'm excited for it. Yeah, of course I'll play because I'm a retro fan. I consider myself a retro fan. And I'm not going to be one of those like complete whiners who are upset that retro is not working on their favorite franchise just because they've done it in the past.
Yeah.
Would I like another Donkey Kong Country game by them? Absolutely. And you know why? Because Tropical Freeze was phenomenal. But I also know that this is the real world and they can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to be entitled, and I encourage everybody listening, everybody at DK Vine, to not be entitled. And I've been really impressed with the reaction. People are keeping it in perspective, and I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad that.
Another thing that I want to see our community do is not engage. I know that ACZ was being playful with it, but don't engage in Schadenfreude with the Metroid fans.
No.
Let's take the high road here.
Granted, they're getting a game they don't want on their 30th anniversary. We didn't get anything on any of our anniversaries. So,
right.
You know, whatever. And I think the reaction to Federation Force is silly. But I also think Nintendo is very tone deaf in promoting it, so nobody comes out as the winner there.
Yeah.
But Chad, do you think there's the possibility that a retro DKC character could pop up in a cameo or in the background somewhere?
Absolutely, I do. Well, we know that they like putting in little Easter eggs in their titles. They Retro Studios is very focused on polish, and part of that polish is dropping in little hints and fun tidbits for people to find. The first DKC retro game, Returns, had Mr. Game & Watch in the background.
It also had the skull from the Metroid skull, the
Crocomire.
Yeah.
And then in Tropical Freeze, they had one of the little wooden airship thingy tank turret things from Super Mario Brothers 3.
They had Samus's downed ship in the mangroves in the silhouette level.
Right. And there was Stanley the Bugman's home turf.
Yeah. Now, granted, they could have put in some more actual references to Donkey Kong Country games, but whatever.
Come on. I like that Retro Studios is sort of creating like a shared world with their with the games they make.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll see Professor Chops. We'll see him in the background somewhere. Like I don't know. Would it be canon if we saw his skeleton or something? Like what? That's going to be an argument. Like his Professor Chops. Is this taking place in the future when Professor Chops is dead and this is his corpse? Our corpses? Do they count as actual character appearances?
Well, non-corporeal beings count, but are we thinking, is it because the consciousness of this hypothetical Professor Chops has moved on? Is he just a collection of carbon?
Things are going to get really theological if we get this chance. So please, Retro, if you're listening, and I know you are, make it so.
So let's take another call.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Karate Joe from Off of the Forum.
Woo!
And I'm calling about the Retro Studios thing. I realized something about retro games that excites me a lot if the new game from them is a new IP. So I realized that in Donkey Kong Country Returns and Tropical Freeze, there's a lot of Metroid references.
Damn it!
That's the game that Retro previously made. Like there's the Crocomire skull and the gunship. So I was thinking, if they make a new IP and a character from Donkey Kong very well could show up, and then we just have a new branch of the Donkey Kong universe. I was wondering what you guys think of that, how likely you think it is. It's my bird idea from earlier, if you remember that. It's flowering into possible reality. So even if it's not Donkey Kong, we very well might get a Donkey Kong universe game. Thank you. Goodbye.
Well, to make this a call not a total wash,
right.
I have a question for you, Chad.
Oh, sure.
So let's assume a Donkey Kong character does appear in some capacity in this new IP. Mm-hmm. Would it be a cameo game, or would it be a spin-off?
I say it would be a spin-off on the same level as Banjo, Conquer, and Dinosaur Planet.
Right, because and somebody asked me this on Facebook earlier today when I was plugging the fact that we were recording tonight. They asked me the same thing, and they basically, like, because it's not a Rare game, would we give it the same spin-off granting capacity that we give Rare? Because we let Rare get away with murder in that regard.
But it's not really so much about Rare as it is the steward of the franchise.
Yeah. So I mean, I pretty much agree with you because I think Retro is at that same tier. As Rare and Platonic, and especially, I mean, they've got the pedigree. David Wise worked with them, so even if you want to get technical about it, they still have a little bit of that Rare pedigree. So I would
the guy who used to work at Rare and made Star Drift with David Wise also worked at Retro Studios.
Yep. So and Kelbal had a hand, in DKC or he did something.
Yeah. He worked in the cafeteria at Nintendo.
Yeah, he made the banana recipes that everybody so loved, including Josh Wolf. So, yeah, I would say it would be a complete spin-off.
Yeah.
New branch.
A brand new branch. And that's really, if you think of it as like a branching tree, it's 1 degree of separation from the main trunk, which is the Donkey Kong series. We started Donkey Kong Country, and that trunk is that series, which includes Diddy Kong Racing, includes the Payon games, and includes the Retro Studios games, and it includes the Donkey Konga titles too. But branching out of that, you have Banjo, and it has a sub branch which resulted in Fish and Chaps. That's like 2 degrees of Kevin Bacon. But for first degree titles or first degree spin-offs, they get their own parent level category.
Yeah, well, the Cameo branch is just another tree getting tangled in our tree and then growing elsewhere.
Sure. Oh man, I feel like we're perpetually behind the call by 1.
Well, let's take another call. Let's just do it. Let's see what they have to say.
Rolling the dice on this.
Fingers crossed.
Good day, lads. Scrap 69 here. How's it going, eh? Look, I just got your message regarding bloody Retro no longer developing games for Donkey Kong, which is a bit of a shame, isn't it? So, look, there's a few keys to my thoughts about this. One is let's see what Retro is doing first, because you have to kind of see what their future is in the future. So I want to compare Retro to Naughty Dog, and that is bloody Retro. Naughty Dog, they started making Crash Bandicoot, then went on to Jak and Dexter, a 3D World, then they moved on to Uncharted, and then they did a Last of Us game. So Retro so far has got Metroid in their portfolio, and they've got Donkey Kong Country. So I reckon
you forgot
something akin to an open world, but maybe some furry shenanigans game of their making is pretty much the future for those lads. Anyway, next question. Who is going to make the next Donkey Kong game? Well, believe it or not, Nintendo does have a long-term memory. So I still reckon it's Monster Games. But they might be doing some other shit for a while. So, and the last time Donkey Kong Country was unveiled, you all saw the reaction. So Nintendo won't be commissioning Donkey Kong for another 5 years, I reckon. So that'll be a bit. My next thought is vote for Patty the Parallel Bird in the DKU Hall of Fame 2016. Because why wouldn't you? I've got a song for him as well. This bird is on fire. Patty is on fire. He's flying through fire. Yeah. All right. 3-minute mark here, lads. Have a good one, eh?
Great. Now our video is going to be taken down from a copyright claim.
I was going to say that. Yeah. I also like the image that Scraps has like an egg timer or something, and he puts it on his desk, and then he's like he's waiting it out, and then right when it hits 3 minutes, he hangs up.
Right. It's like someone who's trying to make sure their call doesn't get traced by the FBI.
Yes, exactly. Which it's Scraps, so that could also be the case.
Yeah. Did we get it? He hung up too early. We lost him.
There's always next week on the Kongversation.
Thanks, Scraps. Yeah, vote Perry.
That's a free plug for Perry on an episode not devoted to the Hall of Fame. So,
well, we did it ourselves earlier in the show
with Nixon.
So.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. No, but didn't we also mention the fact that Scraps has been pushing for Perry, or did we do that off the air?
No, we mentioned it, but it wasn't an endorsement. It wasn't just a shameless plug like that was.
A campaign song.
Fine, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've got one more call. We might as well get through it.
Well, we didn't answer his question.
Did he have a question?
Who do we want to see make the next DKC game?
Oh man, I was actually planning on doing my final thoughts on this.
Well, okay. Why don't we say Scraps? Just wait. Hold your horses.
Yeah,
hold your parallel
Scraps.
birds. Hold your parallel birds. Let's take another call, and we'll answer your question at the end of the show. God damn it!
If that's okay with you, Scraps69, if
Your
that is
Highness,
your real name.
Scraps69, it's a royal title. He's the 69th king of, I don't know, the Blood Mind. I don't know.
Oh, is that what it is? It's a line of succession?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's the son of Scrap68.
Oh, well, that's not vulgar at all.
I know, it's just that unfortunate coincidence.
All right.
All right, lads. Kev here. So talking about Retro and DKC today. So it seems pretty much all but confirmed that Retro are moving on with a fresh IP and leaving Donkey Kong behind. I've got to say, to be honest, I think it's probably a good thing. I mean, if that's the direction they want to take, I'd rather they do that than sort of make a Donkey Kong game because they have to, you know? It should be, I think Donkey Kong should be created by people who want to make it.
Yes.
And Retro, well, I think the problem is because they're only one core team, it's not like Rare where they used to have about, 5 different teams at once. It has got to be pretty annoying in this day and age to just be working on 2D side-scrolling platformers for fucking 10 years if you include all the development time. I mean, Bloody Returns probably started development like 2007. Jesus Christ. So, just saying, I actually think it's a good thing that Retro are probably moving on. But in terms of DKC, or where I'd like to see that go now, see, DK always seems to thrive with a Western developer.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like Nintendo should invest in new talent or buy up an established Western developer and just give them Donkey Kong to make. I mean, do you think they even let's be honest, do you think they actually give a shit? I don't know, because lately, I mean, I'm not going to go into all Nintendo's problems. I mean, that'll take about fucking 10 phone calls to do. So. But, I don't know, I'm thinking more and more this general feeling that Mario, Zelda, and Pokemon are pretty much all they care about.
And Fire Emblem.
And Animal Crossing.
I mean, do you think we're just going to be stuck with Mini Mario, Donkey Kong, Mayhem, Fuckabee for the next God knows how many years?
So long as that's the actual title.
Oh, I actually started this call pretty positive, but the more I think about it, fucking hell. Goodbye, lads.
Well, we spent the entire episode stepping on the toes of our callers, so finally one of the callers stepped on our toes. Kev made the point that I was going to make in my kind of closing remarks, that who do I want to make a Donkey Kong game? A team that wants to make a Donkey Kong game. It's not a series that you want to force anyone to do. They need to understand it and have passion about it. And I don't know who that is right now. If it's not Retro Studios, then the best thing for us, for Metroid fans, for Retro, and probably for Nintendo, is to let Retro pursue their own passions.
Let Retro be Retro. Put that on a napkin and frame it.
Right, yeah. I hope that Retro Studios has a Leo McGarry looking out for them.
Or a Jimmy Fallon. They're both drunks, so,
fair enough.
So, I agree. I also share Kev's concerns. I feel like right now Nintendo has gotten so insular, and they have I call it tribalism, where they're mostly the teams are concerned about their own little properties, and right now it's only Mario, Zelda, and Fire Emblem within Nintendo itself, and obviously they still care about Pokemon, but it's less in Nintendo than you get the other ones. It's Pokemon Company and whatever, and Animal Crossing, but I feel like. The problem with Donkey Kong Country is Miyamoto cares about it. Miyamoto cares about a lot of things, though, that Nintendo itself seems to not care about anymore. And it was Miyamoto who got us Donkey Kong Country back. Retro had been allegedly wanting to make it earlier than they made Returns, and Nintendo said no. And it wasn't until Miyamoto said it's time to bring back Donkey Kong Country that Retro got their chance.
Yeah.
So I feel like we have very few advocates within Nintendo at this point, and that could be changing. And according to Nintendo, they want to be more efficient about making games than they were in this last generation, because they weren't that, I mean, the HD development kind of blindsided them.
Right.
How difficult it was.
And interestingly, they've sort of outsourced their 2D Mario platform making to the public at large.
They still packaged it as a game in-house and sold it. I mean, it's not
I'm partially being facetious, but the question
partially,
is, no, because do you think that Nintendo is really going to make another mainline 2D Mario game, or
you think license to print money? They'd be idiots not to. Look how well Mario sells every console generation.
I don't know. We talked a few episodes back about the possibility that the NX would come with Mario Maker as a pack-in, just out of the box. It has Mario Maker, and perhaps they could introduce like skins and packs throughout the lifespan of the NX.
I'm sure there's going to be another Mario Maker at some point, but there's also going to be an actual Mario game, because let's be honest, they've been coasting on them for quite a while. That the new Super Mario Brothers series isn't that like,
or if it is on the system, why don't they release a $15 expansion pack to Mario Maker that not only gives you a game's worth of courses, but lets you edit them and gives you all the assets that they used to make those courses? Meanwhile, the more designed 2D platformer series could still be Donkey Kong Country.
The thing is, Super Mario Brothers outsells Donkey Kong Country by a wide margin. I hate to say it, but it's true.
I don't know. I was thinking that perhaps Mario Maker could be setting them up for actually being able to justify the existence of both in the eyes of the consumer.
It would be nice. The thing is, in the eyes of the consumer, both are justified. It's in the eyes of the diehard Nintendo fans, the only ones really buying Wii U software at this point. They're not justified. Mario is the platforming series. Get the fuck out of here, Donkey Kong Country, you filthy product of Rare in the 90s. Get the fuck out.
What's with these 90s designs? Animals with big googly eyes? That is so 90s.
Yeah, I mean, why did Bill Clinton sign that into law? Really? So I am concerned that nobody in Nintendo really cares about Donkey Kong Country, and they've really lost a lot of their Western influences. Nintendo, if you look at the direction they've gone in the last few years, they really have kind of become a more Japan-centric company. I mean, they're a Japanese company, obviously, but it feels like they used to have a lot more global outreach, and now it's basically less so. And it's something I've complained about on the show. Not complained, but I've voiced concern about. As somebody who became a Nintendo fan when they were really trying to break into the American market and going that extra mile, and who
using Gary Glitter in their advertisements.
Everybody loves Gary Glitter, men, women, children.
No.
But the stuff I say is tame compared to the stuff Matt Corna comes up with, and you love him just fine. So, no, I think that Nintendo just where they are right now, it doesn't interest me. And again, I am your atypical gamer. But it's like Fire Emblem, that whole aesthetic. I don't really care. I don't really care about half the stuff they peddle on Nintendo Directs now. I'm going to play the new Zelda.
Is it the aesthetic of Fire Emblem, or have you actually tried playing them before?
I played and really liked the first Game Boy Advance game they released here in the West. Not enough to become a diehard advocate of it, but they've really gone hard in there's dating simulations in there now, and it's just
weird.
Yeah. And so, and more power to you if that's what you like. If Nintendo is scratching all your itches right now, hey, I'm glad, you don't, your rash has some relief, but what a weird analogy.
Yeah. I've still got zits and pimples to deal with.
Battletoads.
Battletoads.
So, want to talk about 90s designs? There you go.
Well, okay. You know how we've talked, a little tangent. We've talked about how it's hard to tell whether the shit parts of Donkey Kong 64 are like intentionally shit or just kind of shit, you know? Like
Yeah.
the DK rap. Do you think the Battletoads, same question. Were they making fun of the Ninja Turtles?
Yeah,
Or were they just
well-
kind of shitty ripoffs of the Turtles?
I think it can be both.
Okay.
Let's rip off the Ninja Turtles, but have some fun with it. And look, the Ninja Turtles are still around and thriving, and nobody's complaining that there's 90s relics. So I don't really get.
Well, yeah, because they removed all of their cartoony eyes and made them look like Shrek.
But I mean, the thing, like Funky Kong, yeah, he's a 90s character. That is the point. That is the joke of the character now.
Yeah.
And I don't
It's a
get
conceit. You
I
just
don't get
have
why.
to.
I don't get why Diddy Kong is a 90s character just because he has a baseball cap. That's just like your atypical kid design.
Right.
But okay, or your typical kid design, not atypical. But
I was assuming you. I heard the flub, but I was assuming you had said a typical kid design.
oh, like grandson.
Right, right. Because obviously Virginia is shaking and it's about to descend into the ocean.
Our source power under deep within our core is being clogged up by Fat Crocodile Man right now. It happens from time to time.
Yeah.
My whole point is I share Kev's concern. I agree with his earlier point that if Retro wants to make something else, by God, let them make something else. They wanted to make Donkey Kong Country. Let them make Donkey Kong Country when they want to. Don't chain them to what they don't want to make just because we're feeling entitled.
Mm-hmm.
And I just hope Nintendo does cast a wider net, as the analogy I made earlier. I hope they realize that, hey, we've got to find people who want to make these franchises. We can't just wither and release the same four series again and again and again to diminishing returns.
Yeah, and that's really what it's become. And I love Zelda, and I'm looking forward to playing Zelda at E3. I'm not going to turn my nose up at it because it's the only thing they have to offer. But I want something new from Zelda. I'm hoping this game has it with the open world idea, but you look at a lot of their series, and they start to feel a little rehashy.
And I don't know. I feel like it's hard for me because I don't want to be overly dramatic about it, but I am worried that maybe the future of Donkey Kong Country is just characters appearing in Smash Brothers.
Really? So there was a forum thread on the DK Vine forum in Donkey Kong discussion. Subject: We are fucked, aren't we?
Yeah.
It was created by I think Nathan Versus, and it was about this
Nathan
exact topic of
versus
the
Superman.
show. Yeah.
Spoilers. Their
Yeah.
mothers are both named Martha.
They have a complex. So you are saying that we might be fucked?
I hope not. And it really just depends. I am going to remain cautiously pessimistic. I'm not going to be cautiously optimistic because I'm far too cynical towards Nintendo at this moment in time to be optimistic. But until we see NX reveals, I'm going to be cautiously pessimistic. I really hope what they're saying about developing more games is true and it's not just a bunch of PR BS. I don't know, but I really think Donkey Kong needs some advocates besides Miyamoto and Retro. And who do I think would make great Donkey Kong developers? I think Monsters at least earned the shot if they want it, because their original levels in Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D, granted using Retro's assets, but their original levels were great fun. I love them, and I would love for them to at least have the chance if they're not making Diddy Kong Racing right now.
Yeah.
But I know I've mentioned in the past and on the forum, Platonic, Granted, that's a long shot. And Playtonic's developing their own characters. If they ever grew to the point where they could take on a Donkey Kong game and Nintendo actually trusted them, which Nintendo's very, very untrustworthy towards outsiders. So I don't think it would happen, even if they wanted it to. But of course,
even though they trusted these particular outsiders previously.
Yeah. But they would, of course, be my top choice, because who wouldn't want a Chris Sutherland, Steve Mails, Gavin Price helmed Donkey Kong game?
Presumably with David Wise and Grant Kirkhope music, if they stay with Playtonic.
And I'm sure their dedication to that bunch, they would always be just a phone call away. Obviously, that's my pie in the sky. Oh, wouldn't it be nice Beach Boys song? But I doubt that would be a possibility anytime soon. Of course, I think Yooka-Laylee is also the last great Wii U game, and it's going to be the platform most Yooka-Laylee players will play it on, because I think the majority of people who dove in really hard to Yooka-Laylee are, as Andy Robinson said, they're Nintendo fans who Nintendo maybe loyalists who loved Rare and didn't move on with them, and
will hate this episode.
Hopefully not. Hopefully they see where we're coming from. We're being very diplomatic.
We try to be anyway.
I mean, I'm voicing my concerns about Nintendo while also saying I look forward to Retro's new IP. I'm not being a needy, entitled Donkey Kong fan. I just have concerns about,
even though that is on your business card.
Hey, your wife designed our lovely business card, so it's her fault. It's Janelle's fault.
She pegged you, man. Needy? Yeah.
Hey, if she's pegging anybody, it's you.
Oh, come on now. Let's keep the bedroom in the bedroom. So I would say no, to answer Nathan Versus' question, no, we are not fucked. You're saying potentially fucked.
I'm saying we're at least getting hand jobbed right now.
Okay, well, but that's usually, I think in his question, fucked is a negative. A hand job is usually not.
I didn't say this was wanted. I mean, I'm saying I'm riding the subway and some dude's reaching over right now.
Oh my God! Wow. It's never happened to me in all the years I've been riding the subway, but you must have had a very intense experience the one time you visited New York City.
Well, okay, it's not the subway. We have the DC Metro in Northern Virginia, so
different rules. I won't judge.
It's above ground part of the time, so
okay, a little romantic,
exhibitionist, you know.
Yeah, I can understand that. No, I think that we thought that we were fucked in the buyout era. When all we had were the pay-on games, and it came around, and it will come around again. It has to. There will always be a developer in the future that will be excited about making a Donkey Kong Country game.
And here's the thing: even if there's a fallow period of time, several years without a Donkey Kong game, we've got Rare, we've got Playtonic, we've got games within the expanded Donkey Kong universe. If you're just here for a Donkey Kong, I understand. But the people who made Donkey Kong great again, they put on red hats and but the people behind those games are making great games right now with a lot of the same similar aesthetics. So we have Sea of Thieves and Yooka-Laylee this year. I'm taking solace in that. It's funny how we can never have like really, really strong games that we're looking forward to from, the Rare bunch at the same time as Donkey Kong games that we're really looking forward to. The buyout era, we had all these Rare games we were looking forward to. And then Returns came and, Rare was making Kinect sports games that, at the time we weren't that enthused about. And now it's kind of come back around again. Donkey Kong's going into hibernation, and we've got this bounty from the Rare crew. So it's just it's just funny how the pendulum swings, and we can never get. Imagine the day where we would have both again.
I don't know if I want to imagine that. Like that sounds like I'm already exhausted trying to cover all this stuff. Like, can you imagine? Ugh.
How do celebrities do it? Cocaine, or if you're Jimmy Fallon, lots of booze.
This has been a File 2 production.
Que rico.